Hey, what's up guys? We're back again with Trash or Treasure. In this series, we're going to be exploring the YouTube comment section to find your guys' best decks. And we put them to the test to see if they're trash or treasure. And if there's any improvements to be made, we recycle some cards and make the deck substantially stronger. I love this series because I get to explore a ton of card combinations I haven't played in a while, or sometimes haven't even played at all. And at the end of the video, we'll crown a treasure as the best deck that we've played. It's time to find some new treasures in Clash Royale and assert dominance. Lots of love to everyone that's using creator code SirTag to make high effort videos like this one possible. Thanks to Samsung for sponsoring the video today. The new Samsung S23 Ultra has officially launched. The Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 mobile platform has been uniquely customized and optimized for a perfect mobile gaming experience. The performance uplifts to the CPU and GPU make it the fastest Snapdragon ever, which gives an insanely high frame rate so you never miss out on any of the action. With the adaptive display features, you're never gonna have to sacrifice comfort for clarity. The adaptive vision booster will make sure that the screen adapts to your environment, keeping the contrast looking awesome so you'll never have tired eyes or eye strain in low light conditions. There's also a lot of innovation with the cooling system, so you're never gonna have to worry about your phone overheating. And with a ridiculously long battery life, you can play all day. There's even a built-in S Pen where you can sketch and take notes. The Samsung S23 Ultra is the best phone for mobile gaming, so check it out using the link in the description of the video or in the pinned comment. Giannis has been using this Mega Knight Hog Rider deck for a year now, getting Rail Champion every season and 7,200 trophies. It's time to see if it's trash or treasure. We got a game against someone that says, I will wreck you. Well, isn't it supposed to be wreck instead of wrecked? I don't know, man. Are you gonna wreck me in a different type of world where you're already living in the future? I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna zap here to go and reset the Mighty Miner. There's a high probability he's gonna go and click the ability to go and blast me on the other side. I still need to go in for the Witch here. Oh man, this is weird. Maybe we can go and pull the Mighty Miner directly back into the Witch using our Electro Wizard? Or is he just gonna let the Mighty Miner die? Yo, let's go! That's exactly what we wanted. And the Witch is gonna stay within vicinity to still be able to hit the Lava Hound. That's fantastic. The great thing about this deck is the quality counter push that it exudes, right? You're gonna have Witch, you're gonna have Inferno Dragon or Mega Knight at all points in time. I love that the Witch also spawns skeletons, so then hopefully it's gonna go and target the Hog. Oh no, it was actually gonna go and target the Witch still, unfortunately. But our opponent freaked out and he didn't know, so he had to go and cast a Fireball and overexpend with his Fireball and Tombstone. So we're in a fantastic position. The counter push that this deck affords with the Mega Knight, with the Inferno Dragon, no matter what it is, you can drop a Hog Rider in front of it and get a great trade on offense as well. Usually, a lot of decks, when you defend, counter-pushing cards don't really give you anything. Your opponents are easily able to counter it with like 1 Elixir Skeletons, maybe a Log. Not really ideal, but if you can keep things alive and counter-push with like a Miner or maybe even like a Hog Rider in this deck, you're going to get a lot better trades. That's one of the reasons why I think I'm going to be rating this deck a little bit higher than usual, just because of the quality construction. So what are we going to do? If we use Inferno Dragon here, we need to use our Electro Wizard on top of the remaining Lava Hound pups. Actually, I want to go and blast everything with a Fireball because I'm sure that we were able to knock back the Mega Minion and finish that off. And the Inferno Dragon didn't even get touched. Yo, it didn't even get scorched. It's living large out here. We go for a Hog Rider in the middle, see what else he wants to do. I didn't really want to get Fireballed, so I kind of wanted to spread everything out. Also was kind of hoping that we could pull the Mighty Miner there as well. Didn't really work out. Oh man, I'm gonna go for a Witch, and then I can go for a Mega Knight at the river. And I wonder if we could wreck the person that wants to get wrecked. You know what? This is going to be fantastic. He's down so much Elixir. If he's going to go in for like an Inferno Dragon or something, we can zap, we can reset it, we can bounce it back with a Fireball. The Mighty Miner is never going to be an issue because we can always reset it here, and then we'll Inferno Dragon afterward. So the fantastic thing about this deck is you've got multiple resets. Fireball, Log Knockback, the Zap, also the Electro Wizard. So, you know, Mighty Miner decks and Inferno Dragon decks better be scared of you. All right, I'm going to log here. I could have also Fireballed. That was a great minions from our opponent, knowing that I was going to pre-log. What do we do? Do we just go for a Witch and constantly apply aggression? We can also go and pull the Mega Minion using our Mega Knight. So then the Mega Minion doesn't go towards my tower. Instead, it goes back into the Witch. We can Inferno Dragon to go and counter the Balloon, and then just prioritizing countering the Balloon is ideal. Because if we finish off the Balloon first, then we don't have to worry about anything else. Then we can go in for a Zap on top of the Mighty Miner, because the Lava Hound pups don't do that much damage by themselves. It's more so the threat of the Balloon bouncing behind the Lava Hound to just do that birthday bash and crash your towers down to oblivion. And focusing that first with the Inferno Dragon catapulted us ahead and allowed us to win. Meanwhile, our Hog Rider, Mega Knight, and Witch put in the work in the left-hand side to take the tower. The guy even said well played at the end, so you know what? Despite his name, he was a pretty chivalrous sir. The overall construction of this deck is really strong because you're going to have Fireball bait with the Electro Wizard and the Witch. And you're going to have 3 spells to combat the craziness that mid-ladder will throw at you, so you have Log for Dark Goblin, Saps for Skeleton Barrels, Fireballs for random Royal Hogs. The deck is just super sturdy. The only thing is, once you reach the higher stages of the game, the deck could be a lot better. The deck that I'm showing right now is the best Mega Knight Hog Rider deck in the game. It's played in the top 50 in the world by professional players consistently, and it's got astounding firepower. After defending with Mega Knight, Prince, or Inferno Dragon, you can throw a Hog Rider in front and then freeze your opponent's units on defense. It turns your Inferno Dragon into a fully fledged win condition where if your opponent doesn't have a way of stopping it, it'll take an entire tower. When you just have Fireball, you haven't fully capitalized on the entire power of the Inferno Dragon, and Freeze unlocks that untapped potential. Also, the Prince on defense will give you an awesome way of shutting down bridge spam and getting counter push, so you don't always have to have Mega Knight in your hand. You're still going to retain the bait synergy in your deck. You're going to have it with Inferno Dragon, Bats, and Bomber this time. So if your opponent tries to reset your Inferno Dragon with a Zapper or Snowball, they're going to face a massive threat with the Bats and Bomber. Your deck as is stays strong as an 8.5 out of 10, but it could be better with a few slight switch-ups to take it to a top 50 deck in the world. Druv asked me to pull down the elixir cost of his Electro Giant deck, so it's time to see if we can electrify his deck. We're jumping into the game against David. He had a P.E.K.K.A banner, so hopefully that's not what we're playing against when we are going to be playing an Electro Giant deck. So if we are playing against P.E.K.K.A, it's extremely important that we do not go and cycle our Electro Giant in single elixir, because if you do, then you're not going to have enough elixir to deal with the P.E.K.K.A and then deal with the counter push that they're going to have afterward. Wow, he already dropped his P.E.K.K.A in single elixir very aggressively, so that was interesting. I think I get an Inferno Dragon here and then Barbarian Barrel just to make sure that the Magic Archer doesn't lock onto anything important. I don't know if no, I'm not going to go for a zap. I think that the P.E.K.K.A doesn't get a shot, and we were right. Wow, that was really playing with fire, quite honestly. I mean, I'm using the Inferno Dragon and we did not get burned, so that was pretty cool. Genuinely, the Inferno Dragon doesn't do any damage when it's counter pushing. You need to be able to break through with Electro Giants when you're up enough elixir, and I think we might have found our opportunity. He made a massive mishap. He shouldn't have done that, right? When he dropped his P.E.K.K.A and overcommitted with maximum amount of elixir, he's probably not going to be back to his P.E.K.K.A immediately for our Electro Giant. And why this Electro Giant deck works so well is no matter what range card they drop, you can just kind of tornado it in for the win using your tornado. So he has to drop his P.E.K.K.A and he has to drop it super late. We seized the moment, took a tower damage on him. We're in a pretty awesome position. So I'm going to go in for a Tesla here. I don't love doing this because a lot of times they'll go for Magic Archer. You know what? I can still do this and then go in for a Hunter on top of the Electro Wizard and then tornado everything back so then the Tesla's able to finish this off. So if you had Cannon, it would be infinitely better. I would not be dropping a 4 elixir cost card. I would be able to easily afford my Barbarian Barrel, and then the Cannon would be able to do more damage to the P.E.K.K.A for its elixir cost, right? So I think if there was one change in the deck immediately, what I would do, I would definitely sub out that Tesla, which is incredibly inefficient unless you're running an Expo deck, and put in the Cannon instead. Especially since you have the Hunter, you've got Inferno Dragon, and then you've got Tornado with Electro Giant to kill all the air cards, right? Like, let's say they go Flying Machine. What do? All you got to do is go in for a Tornado and pull them directly into the Electro Giant. Another bad thing about the Tesla is it goes underground, so then, like, hypothetically, if he went Royal Ghost and I had to counter it with a Tesla, I would have to drop the Tesla directly on top of the Royal Ghost. And that wouldn't work out so well for me, right? Because otherwise, then the Royal Ghost just bypasses the Tesla because it goes underground, and then I lose the game. So just keep that in mind. All right, so he's going to go and spam a lot at the river. He doesn't have Electro Wizard in cycle, so I can go and plop down my Electro Giant now, and then I can Inferno Dragon to melt his P.E.K.K.A. So the reason why I'm doing that Electro Giant, I know it's going to die, but I know that I can also finish off his P.E.K.K.A and then cycle back to another Electro Giant and get a huge positive elixir trade. Another huge issue with your deck, I think the biggest issue overall, is the fact that you do not have Lightning with Electro Giant. If you play against someone with a building, you are screwed. You have 0% chance of winning them. This is what I was talking about before. We outcycle his P.E.K.K.A. Because now he's not going to be back to P.E.K.K.A. We can go in for a Barbarian Barrel. We should be able to finish off. Oh, wait, he got back to P.E.K.K.A. That's interesting. You know what? I can Tornado his P.E.K.K.A. and have it run away from the Electro Giant. What a weird game we're playing in right now. This guy's got like the P.E.K.K.A. cycle of bridge spam that I was not ready for. I really thought we would have won right then. It's all good, though. We can go for Barbarians directly on top of everything. If he's got Fireball, this could be a conundrum for me, but don't think he's going to go and do that or do anything like that immediately. We can go in for a Hunter here as well, trying to separate out our stuff so we don't get all just blasted back by a big spell immediately. And we're going to go for another Electro Giant really fast, and then try to Tornado his P.E.K.K.A. again. I think this could be extremely funny. Or we could Tornado his Magic Archer into us. I think tornadoing the Magic Archer into us might not also be that bad of a decision. We kill the Magic Archer, I think that's a bit of a vibe as well. We can maybe go in for another Tesla here. I mean, this game is really starting to become something scary. If our dude starts to play a little bit better and gets one good Magic Archer connection, that could be all the magic he needs to come back. So we're going to try to go for another Electro Giant at the river again whenever we get the opportunity. I think that in double and triple elixir, you can start to spam Electro Giants a little bit more haphazardly and still have a stellar defense. But other than that, it's going to be harder. Wait, if we pull that into the Barbarian instead? Yo, look at the P.E.K.K.A. We passed the P.E.K.K.A. Yo, the best childhood game that you guys have never heard of. It's usually past the potato, but it's past the P.E.K.K.A. this time. Maybe we can go in for like another, yeah, see the Royal Ghost? That's what I was talking about earlier. The Royal Ghost goes and bypasses the Tesla because of that placement. It's not ideal for us at all. Unfortunately, yeah, the Tesla just doesn't have the firepower to finish off the Battle Ram fast enough compared to the other stuff, like if we had Cannon. All right, we're going to Tornado everything back. We're going to go and use the Golden Knight Dash, and it still dashes wonderfully. It's a little bit worse than it used to be after the nerf, but it's still manageable. I'd still say that, you know, if you're using Golden Knight with Tornado, it's really strong, but if you're using Golden Knight without Tornado, it's a trash tier card. But we were able to win this game despite our opponent having P.E.K.K.A. because Electro Giant's defenses with Hunter, Barbarians, and Tesla are fantastic. It would be a bit better if you put Cannon instead of Tesla, but, you know, there's just a few changes that I would make here that will make the deck substantially stronger. Overall, I think I gotta rate the deck a 7 out of 10. The main thing that's dragging it down is the lack of lightning. Because if I played against a control deck with a building like Bomb Tower, Inferno Tower, or Cannon, there would have been 0% chance of me breaking through. So the updated version of the Electro Giant deck is played in the top 200 in the world, and I would rate it a 9 out of 10. This has been one of the best decks in Clash Royale for many metas. You have lightning to break through buildings, a faster card cycle with bombers so then you don't get destroyed by rail hogs, rail recruits, and a ton of bait cards. And you have a more reliable, cost-efficient ground defense with Cannon to crush all the bridge spam. I know you were trying to pull down your average elixir cost, and this deck does it best. You switch to this one, you'll have a lot more success. Frenek has asked us to rate his super fast cycle deck. It's time to take it for a test run. This deck looks like it was pulled straight up out of Top Ladder. Whenever we see minor wall breakers, it's one of the best card combinations in the game. Generally, people are running Poison instead of Fireball, though, because Poison will do a little bit more damage than Fireball, so pros prefer it. It's also great against Graveyard, against Clone. It's just a bit safer overall. Also, whenever we see someone go in for an aggressive Skeleton Barrel, it's ideal to go in for a Cannon instead of going in for a log, because a lot of times whenever you see Skeleton Barrel, they're going to have other bait cards, so you want to save the log for that. And the Cannon makes sure that you don't take death damage from the Skeleton Barrel popping on your towers. So it's generally just a safer and better bet. We're going to go for a Knight here to go and stop that Dark Goblin from hitting our tower pretty hard. And then I'm going to go in for an inside miner placement because I don't think he's going to have Tornado in this deck after we see Dark Goblin. Maybe he'll surprise me, though. I'm also hoping that the Knight is able to kill the Tombstone so then we can go for wall breakers relatively immediately and then log on top of the skeletons. Guarantee that the wall breakers have safe passage. Ooh, wait, that was really good. That was awesome. It blasted the tower there. That was incredible. Is he going to go for a Skeleton Barrel or not? I guess we can go for Archers and then go and pull everything back. Nice. This is incredible for us. Skeletons are such a cost-efficient defense. Just being able to distract for that long period of time is fantastic. We can go for wall breakers and miner again because we know that his elixir is limited. He might go Tombstone, but then he would have nothing for the miner. Oh, wow. So he killed one of the wall breakers, but since the miner went down in front of the wall breakers, even after the miner nerf, it's still a fantastic way of tanking for cheap bait cards. Whether it's Dark Goblins or wall breakers or bats, that miner will pack a punch if it's able to allow its other supporting cards to deal the damage. So miner now isn't really a win condition, it's more so a supporting card that allows your other cards to win the game. Or it's kind of like the nail in the coffin, the way to finish off the game with miner fireball and log cycle if you need to. So I guess he's just going to keep going in for Skeleton Barrels on the other side. Not super scary for me. We're going to wait for the Tombstone to get a little bit lower HP, and then we're going to log it, and then we're going to go Wall Breakers, and then we're going to go Miner. I'm going to go for a high cannon here because it might be able to lock onto the Valkyrie. Oh my gosh, it's going to go and kill the Dark Goblin and compromise our opponent's ability to get any value with the Skeleton Barrel. That cannon just gave us a 6 elixir value for 3. That is what we're looking for, baby. Wow, that was fantastic. He's going to go for a Dark Goblin. We're going to wait for the Skeleton Barrel to pop on our tower, and then we're going for a log on everything. That was extremely nice for us. We're going to go in for a log whenever we get the chance on the Skeleton Barrel, I guess. I wonder if he's going to go for a Valkyrie here. Let's pre-fireball a Valkyrie. If we can hit that, would be awesome. Let's go, guys. The miner should retarget on the tower, hopefully. No, the fireball didn't push it back far enough. Dang, I made a prediction just to get some extra damage. It didn't work out as well as we wanted, but we can still log to go and bounce back the Valkyrie, get back to another miner. If I hit the Dark Goblin there, that would have been just like the biggest brain play of my entire life. Oh, man. The game's making predictions for me that I wasn't even able to predict. Yeah, this deck is sublimely slick, and we made our opponent just leave the game. He's like, dude, I'm sick of this. He zapped our King Tower in utter despair. This deck, I gotta rate 8 out of 10, simply because you have Cannon instead of Bomb Tower. Cannon is a fantastic card in 90% of situations, but if you play against an Earthquake deck, you are definitely going to lose. If you didn't know, Bomb Tower is the best building in this type of deck, and that's why all top ladder players are playing it in minor wall breakers. If your opponent goes in for a Hog Rider plus Earthquake, which is 7 elixir, it gets fully countered by a 4 elixir Bomb Tower. If you swap in Bomb Tower for Cannon, I would rate this a 9.5 out of 10 because it's consistently played by the best players in the world. You can also put Spear Goblins or Bats for Skeletons and Poison for Fireball. But I like the deck with Fireball and Bomb Tower. And if you're lucky enough to unlock champions, put in Mighty Miner for Knight just like all the top ladder warriors. Fredbo's got a balloon deck for Trash Your Treasure. Is it gonna pop off or is it gonna get popped? We got a game against Big Star. We'll see what he's up to. Honestly, this deck might be a big mistake for us if we are gonna be running a balloon without having arrows, zap, freeze, fireball, or any way of removing minions, bats, or any type of, annoying air card that he has as a constant threat for my balloon. So, we'll see what we can do, but it's going to be difficult for us to break through with him already having bats from the Night Witch, which I cannot clean up because guess what? My log does not shoot up as much as I wanted to will it to. All right, we can go for a Princess and then maybe go in for a Dark Prince afterward. You know what? This isn't that bad. We were able to finish that off without spending any extra elixir. The thing is, I can't go in for a balloon with a Princess because he'll be able to counter the balloon with an air card, and then it will also filter onto my Princess and do a lot of damage to my tower. So here's the risk, right? I'm going balloon without freeze, snowball, or zap. So if he goes bats, minions, anything like in the air, I just got to say, hey, I don't care. I don't have any answers to that. Oh my gosh, the princess is staying alive. How is the princess still alive? She's been alive to the ripe age of 105. I can't believe this. Unfortunately, I think the giant skeleton is going to have some very choice words to say to my tower. Oh my goodness. I got to go princess here to go and snipe the minions. I think he's going to go in for an arrows. Oh, is the Dark Goblin going to run away? Fortunately for us, even though he arrows, he activated King Tower. Tiger fan, I'm a fan of you. Appreciate you activating King Tower for me there, bro. It's nice to go and drop your range cards closer to your King Tower so then maybe they'll slip up with their fingers. I can't tell you how many times I've been like eating a sub or just eating while playing Clash Royale and then my fat finger slips and it's like, oh, well, that wasn't the play that we wanted to do. Man, this guy is going to go in for a Night Witch again. I got to go for Dark Goblin. That's my only way of killing bats. Oh my gosh, guys, it's terrible because it's not even guaranteed that it will lock onto the bats. And then it's probably going to get sniped most of the time. We got very, very lucky that he was slow with the giant skeleton there as well. I think we're going to win this one because we were able to activate King Tower. Oh my gosh. Stop with the giant skeleton spam. And the arrows are not something that I wanted to see either. We can maybe go in for like a skeletons up high. So when you decide to go in for your spam, we're going to be able to go and pull that back. And then we can go for a Dark Prince here. And then we can go for a Goblin Gang off to the side. It's extraordinarily weird to play against someone with Elixir Collector when you have no way of killing it. And then Minion Horde with no way of killing it besides, something that gets arrowed. Like, this is a very tough matchup. I think I got a little bit lucky, but we have definitely won it because he's not able to break through for the last 20-30 seconds. So your bait concept with Balloon was a really cool concept, but it fell short. I don't like the synergy with your deck at all, and if you're trying to rush balloons towards tower, you need the proper support. The only cards that you have available are going to be like Dark Prince and Goblin Cage Brawler to tank for your balloon, and you have no way of removing any anti-air cards that your opponent has. So as is, I gotta rate your deck a 5 out of 10. But keeping the cool card concept of Log Bait Balloon, there's a top 200 ladder player that uses your exact same strategy, just with a much stronger synergy overall. With Snowball and Princess and Ice Spear and Bats, you're gonna have good ways of removing your opponent's anti-air responses. And with a quicker card cycle, you're able to get back to more balloons, tank for it with a Lumberjack, rage up the balloon, and just spam your opponent like a savage. You're still gonna have the bait synergy with Princess, Bats, and Goblins, so your opponent's not gonna be able to allocate their spells on everything. And because of your quick card cycle, you're going to be overwhelming your opponents with stacking up princesses or getting back to balloons before they're back to their counter. If you want to switch to this version of Balloon Princess, it's the best one in the game. And it will get you significantly better at Clash Royale because it's one of the highest skill decks in the game. Carlos says nothing breaks through his extremely defensive deck. It's time to put it to the test and see if it's as strong as he says it is. Jumping to the game against Orden, this graveyard deck is definitely out of the ordinary. Typically, whenever we see Monk, it's not going to be with graveyard. Most of the time we see Skeleton King or Mighty Miner Freeze with graveyard in this meta. It's nice to see Monk bounce back with this deck, so we'll see how it works. He's going to have Executioner, which is not something I want to see at all whenever we've got a Phoenix coming at him, because it's the hard counter to the Phoenix. When it kills the Phoenix, it still hits the egg with the Executioner axe. That's why it's one of the best counters to Phoenix in the game, and when Phoenix was the best card in Clash Royale, Executioner was absolutely everywhere. Kind of like a throwback for me right now. Jeez. What do we do? Do we go in for a Monk here and then go and counter his Electro Wizard and get some decent counter push? The good thing about the Monk is it's an incredibly versatile card. It's got high health. It's got that little knockback with the third attack. He pushes things back and does double damage, I believe. And then also on top of that, he's got that tremendous amount of tank value when you can go in for his ability with the graveyard. So when the graveyard is on your opponent's tower and you have the Monk at a very limited amount of HP, and then you're able to go and click the Monk ability, the Monk stays alive forever. And then the graveyard skeletons can, not get targeted by the tower or whatever other units your opponent has. A great card combination. We're going to Barb Barrel to clean up the rest of his Goblin Gang. And we'll see what else he's got. I mean, this is not a super scary situation for us because the Barbarian Barrel is able to at least get one shot. And if he kills the Barb Barrel, it doesn't really matter that much to me. So I'm going to Phoenix in the back. We're expecting him to go for an Executioner. I can't wait to go for the Monk and mess up that Exy. This is what we wanted to do more than anything. Generally, whenever you go in for a Phoenix, it's going to get countered by a range card, but then you can poison whatever range card they have, or you can go and click the Monk ability and reflect back projectiles. So I'm going to go in for a poison, and then I'm going to use the Executioner's axe to finish itself off, most likely, and I won't have to worry or respond to the P.E.K.K.A. or the Executioner or anything else my opponent throws here, because I've got Zappies, I've got Goblins, I've got really good answers. Also, if you guys think that, Bomb Tower isn't the best answer to Balloon, you guys might be wrong. Bomb Tower takes 2 shots for the balloon to even think about killing. And then also on top of that, the Bomb Blast blasts the balloon to oblivion in a lot of other situations. So I'm going to go in for a Monk here, and I'm going to go for a Graveyard. And if he goes in for a Goblin Gang, we can just poison on it, so it's not that big of a deal. Notice how the Electro Wizard gets destroyed, though. Isn't that hilarious? Did you guys expect the Electro Wizard to give him a little bit more value? Notice how his tower is still targeting my Monk. The Monk is reflecting back the shots to do even more tower damage. And it's precluding the potential of him going in for anything to finish off the Monk for a long period of time. When we go for a Barbarian Barrel here, I can get a Bomb Tower down to go and pull the balloon if you guys are unnecessarily scared of Bomb Towers. You can go in for Zappies as well, but Bomb Tower in that placement should be able to deal with the balloon with only 1 tower shot available for him. Now I can go for a Monk, go in for a Graveyard. I think he's going to go in for probably a P.E.K.K.A. on top of the Monk to kill it, but the P.E.K.K.A. can get knocked back by the Monk, and then we can go for Zappies to make sure that the P.E.K.K.A. is just not going to give him any value. Meanwhile, the skeletons are swarming him, and that is a delicious dinner. We are feasting on the tower today and taking the W. He's just going to have to wait for the poison to count down, and then he's going to have an inevitable frown. GG, well played and peace out. This deck is fantastic, and there actually isn't anything I would change. Overall, I would rate this deck a 9 out of 10. I was used to seeing it with Skeletons and Tombstone in previous metas, but I think Bomb Tower is a much better addition. The extra safety net that Bomb Tower brings against any bridge spam, Hog Rider, Earthquake, or Balloon deck will net you a lot of wins. If you weren't lucky enough to have Monk in the deck, I would definitely use Knight instead. There were a ton of top tier decks today, but Carlos's graveyard deck has to be today's treasure. When Carlos said that almost nothing breaks through Zappies, Monk, and Bomb Tower, he wasn't lying. This deck is superbly safe, so no matter what matchup you might get on ladder, you're going to be chilling. While your opponent's tower will feel on fire with the graveyard skeletons tearing everything down. I loved playing all the community decks today, and I can't wait to try out more soon. So let me know down below in the comment section if you have a deck that I should test out. If you enjoyed the video today, make sure to drop a like, subscribe for more daily content, and have an incredible rest of your day.